Hello everyone, it's your buddy Sven here once again coming at you with a, Saturday video. This is my miscellaneous day. But today it's going to take a bit of a different turn. No, I'm not playing Five Nights at Freddy's 4. I wish I owned it, but we're going to talk about something that a lot of people overlooked and a lot of people took for granted, but was wrong. And that's MatPat's theory on why Five Nights at Freddy 4 was impossible. And I'm going to point out why it actually both is possible and why it's even more than possible, why it's still true and why it happened. Now, as we can see here, I have the whole thing. And by the way, spoilers are incoming. This shouldn't necessarily be something. If you've seen MatPat's video, then you already know a few spoilers, but I'm just going to go ahead and give you the warning. Now, originally, we thought the Bite of 87 was our old friend Foxy, and then there were some theories about, Freddy with the handprints on his mask, and you hear all these theories about the Bite of 87. Now, here's the thing. When we see the end of Night 5 in the minigame where the little kid's brother and his friends pick him up and then put him in Fredbear's mouth, and the mouth clamps down, we see something very interesting. We do see a bite, and it's commonly theorized to be the Bite of 87, and this is a whole thing because, as we see here, the kids look shocked in a way, and this kid had his head clamped down by an animatronic. You don't necessarily, survive full on through that in a lot of situations, and we can realize, oh yeah, so this was the bite that removed the frontal lobe and whatnot. However, Matt runs with this theory as though this was the Bite of 87. I'm here to tell you that this isn't the Bite of 87, and I will be explaining why over the course of this video. Now, of course, this is the same Fredbear's Family Diner that the minigame from, in case you haven't seen this before, this is from Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Now, the Bite of 87 took place in 1987 in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Now, this is important to know because this took place in 1987. That's what's called the Bite of 87, and it took place in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Now, there are two big issues that take place with MatPat's theory of this being the Bite of 87. One thing, it took place at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, whereas we are talking about Fredbear's Family Diner in this game. Also, we have these indicators of 5 days until the party, 4 days until the party, 3 days until the party, and it ticks down up until, night 5, where it's the day until the party, and then you see the cutscene where the kid gets bit. Now, him playing through the nights and being scared of these animatronics, because obviously you're being incredibly scared of all these. My theory is that this kid is already scared of the animatronics, but, the parents would be hosting his party at Fredbear's because it seems like a very appropriate location for kids to have their party. But he's also noticed hiding under the table and crying. He obviously doesn't like these. He has the dolls, but you'll also notice that the Fredbear doll is separate and watching him. This is an important detail because clearly Fredbear is different than the rest of them. He likes Foxy, he likes Bonnie. Also, his brother has repeatedly scared him with the Foxy mask. So Foxy jumping out of the closet isn't necessarily unlikely with all these nightmare animatronics chasing after him. We can also reason that his friends have also played pranks on him with these other masks because they're clearly in possession of them. This would cause the nightmares to come in. Also, with him having such a fear of Fredbear, why this plushie is different than the rest, watching him separated from all of them, and it follows him where he goes, that also is a good reasoning as to why Nightmare Fredbear is not only super aggressive, but replaces the rest of the animatronics at 4 a.m. As he gets deeper into these nightmares, the real root comes out, and it's only Nightmare Fredbear. You don't see Foxy, you don't see Freddy, you don't see Bonnie, you don't see Chica, you see Fredbear. That is the only one you see. Also, in case we also needed a reminder, I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. Now, Scott Coffin points out, it was a good video. I always enjoy them. Unfortunately, as your more clever viewers are pointing out in the comments below, you overlooked a crucial detail in the game. When Scott admits that you overlooked a crucial detail, he's not just screwing with you. He is saying you missed something. Now, I think I know what that something is. If we look on the TV here, we see Fredbear and Friends. As I talked about earlier, Fredbear is watching you right there. Now, this also says Fredbear and Friends, 1983. Now, I want to reason that this isn't just a rerun of a show, this isn't just some fluke, this is taking place in the year 1983. So not only does this not take place at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, where we can reason that it was back in Five Nights 2 where we think the bite happened, this is not only the wrong place, but it's the wrong year. Not the right place, not the right time. So this has been deemed a few times the bite of 83. Now, I'm a very big subscriber to this theory because just nothing lines up for this to be the bite of 87. Also, when we look at Fredbear's Family Diner, it says, according to Phone Guy in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the restaurant was named Fredbear's Family Diner, presumably a local family restaurant, before closing under mysterious circumstances. By the time the events of the second game occurred, the original restaurant owner had been gone for years. Now, this mysterious event, I think Scott wanted to throw you a bit of a curveball here and just say, okay, so it's something mysterious, we don't know what's going on, and then he wanted to catch you with a bite and make you think it's the bite of 87. However, this is the bite of 83. It's the wrong place, it's the wrong time, and as a result, this whole aspect of the kid can't have nightmares because, oh, it's like a lobotomy where he had his frontal lobe damaged / removed. It would be removed because the phone guy in the first night of the first game has said that it was the frontal lobe removal. That's not right. Now, pointing out the IV stand, the pills, and the flowers on the bed, perhaps this kid suffers from some terminal illness or otherwise interesting condition where it's the fact that he would need those pills, need the IV. However, just them being standard medical equipment doesn't necessarily mean that this kid went through a lobotomy-esque procedure given by an animatronic bite. Now, when I talked about earlier, this is Nightmare Fredbear. You look at Nightmare Fredbear, and there's far more teeth to it as well. Not only does it replace all the animatronics at 4 a.m., and it's far more aggressive, we see this thing far more serrated, torn up, far more aggressive looking. We can reason that this kid has a very disproportionate fear to Fredbear compared to the rest. And when we see Fredbear watching him in different rooms, we could reason that he's actually scared of Fredbear. Because odds are this kid wasn't old enough to decide what he wanted, so maybe he likes the others. Maybe he's willing to put up with the others. However, in my opinion, he's actually scared of all of them. That's why his brother's scaring him with the Foxy mask. I think that might have started to drive the fear, and when he's hiding under the table, he doesn't want to deal with any of the animatronics. But Fredbear being the biggest one, the scariest one to him, and then as a result, because we see him scared of Fredbear in the animatronics before they throw him in. He didn't just climb up into the mouth and have Fredbear bite down on his skull. His brother and his friends decide to lift him up and put him in the guy's mouth. This would reason as to why Fredbear is so aggressive in these nightmare states. And it also reasons the fact that we don't know what the consequences of the bite of 83 were. We know the bite of 87 resulted in the loss of the frontal lobe. But we don't know what happened with the bite of 83. This kid's frontal lobe may not have been damaged. We see his head pressed down a little bit. I don't know if that's just a graphical thing or if his head actually really, I mean, we could reason that his head took a lot of damage, but we don't know if there's any frontal lobe damage in this bite. If there's no frontal lobe damage, then he still has the capacity to feel fear, which would cause nightmares. If anything, it may have stimulated the part of his brain which causes fear. I was talking with one of my friends last night, and she came to the conclusion a trauma like that can actually overstimulate. I think it's the amygdala, which is the fear center in your brain. If it overstimulates that, you're prone to feeling these large attacks of fear, these very, very strong fears. So having the nightmare animatronics all bladed and very horrifying, that makes a lot of sense for an overstimulated amygdala. So in reality, MatPat took the entirely wrong direction on this theory. He's saying that they can't have nightmares, whereas I'm saying these nightmares got stronger. Anywho, this wraps up my theory for why MatPat was wrong in Five Nights at Freddy's 4. You're welcome to comment down below, and I'll have this discussion with you. I like it. This is a very fascinating theory, and I might be wrong. It is just a theory, as MatPat says. But I like to think that I'm correct in this one. Maybe for once I decided to actually think things through, and maybe I actually beat Matt. The biggest thing, though, for me is Scott confirming that Matt overlooked a crucial detail, and I do think that crucial detail is this 1983 on the TV. Matt does not address that. And I think that's a huge giveaway to the fact that his theory was very debunkable. Anywho, if you like what you heard in this video, please leave a like. That helps me out so very much. And if you want to, click that big red button down below that says subscribe. That helps me out more than you could possibly imagine. Anywho, this has been Sven. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.